Maybe more like
8 hours.
but it's been a while, yeah.
I mean, we can pretend it's been 12 hours if you want.
It's 15 hours.
It's not going to get us...
Thank you guys for watching for the last 15 hours.
It's not going to get us a raise no matter how much we said.
You don't?
Well, you don't get a raise if I pretend to do twice as much work as it is?
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
Okay. Top left side. A red sig player representing the Platinum Heroes, eGGz.
And the opponent down here in the bottom right, shaking up the meta a couple of months ago. We're looking at none other than Erik's main hatchery. I still think of the 15 hatch opener as the Erik opener, even though it's really just an extractor trick start, and it's something we've seen so many times.
I know, he really got his name attached to something that is... Okay, like, he was doing it, like, when people started to pick it up again, but, like, it really is just the extractor trick hatchery, no? Like...
It really is, yeah. But then 15 Overlord as well, okay? That was little bit different.
There is his variation of doing exactly what it is. It's just... Yeah, you know what? I like having things like the Erik opener.
Yeah, I don't mind it personally. So we saw Serral doing this build in every matchup for a couple months, and then recently I haven't seen him do it a single time, which is very strange. Like, he was doing it in literally every matchup, and I was like, oh, I guess this is his new go-to strategy, and maybe he'll still mix it in, but the last couple times I've seen him play it, he just went 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 spawning pool, just like everybody else. Because nobody else really adapted to that build. I mean, I think I've seen Raynor play it a couple times, but overall, it was really just Serral playing it at the highest level, and now we're back to the good old faithful, I guess. Just good old 16 hatch.
Yep, good old 16 hatch. And you have a gas coming up right now from Erik, by the way, so you'll be taking that as gas has already been mining from eGGz, so difference between the two in terms of gas timings. Something that maybe kind of comes into impact later on in the day here in this game, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Otherwise, nothing really overly aggressive yet, but it's only 2 minutes in. So there is time for things to get a little bit ZVZ crazy, you know?
Absolutely. This matchup can get very chaotic, mostly because the units move very fast and everything has about 5 hit points. So if you're not careful, you just lose your entire army if you look away for just a second. Which is why this matchup usually looks a lot more messy than the others, but we've already had a lot of very scrappy games today as well, so maybe the ZVZ right here is not going to be any different. The thing about this Erik opener is that it functions a bit differently than the majority of the early game builds from Zerg. So ultimately, okay, he's going to go straight into the Roach one right now, but we are also getting link speed with it, which is already a little bit funky. Usually, you either skip the Ling Bane phase and go straight into Roaches, or you play Ling Bane and then add on the Roach Warren much later than this. Then again, it's Erik, so we'll have to see exactly what it decides to make it is.
Yep, we will see what comes out of it as link speed comes up on either side. Going to be seeing a couple of Overlords building through. It is going to be the Carapace already starting from eGGz, so if he just goes Ling Roach with a Carapace upgrade versus a Ling Roach all-in, I think I like that a lot for eGGz. Like, yeah, initially a little bit more invested, but like he should still be on his way to units. Obviously, drone counts will determine a lot on when they cut those drones. So let's see, 7 Roaches on the way. It definitely seems like Erik is going on the more aggressive side of things right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think eGGz is thinking about making a 3rd hatchery here, so he's playing this pretty safely early on. Yeah, he is going to sneak out a 3rd base. He really needs to fire up that unit production here pretty soon, which is exactly what he's doing. I'm always a bit conflicted about these Erik openers, right? So they're kind of cool, and they can definitely catch the opponent off guard, but I oftentimes feel like if the opponent knows roughly what you're going for, they can counter you pretty hard. So Erik is just going for what is essentially just a Roach Ling Flood on 2 bases, which isn't necessarily rocket science, but oftentimes as the opponent you're thinking about like Nidus Worms and maybe a Spire quickly on 2 bases and all the rest of it. That's not the case here at all. Even if you get the kill or the cancel on this 3rd base, are you really in that good of a spot here as Erik? Because you already brought it up, that Carapace upgrade is going to be amazing here for eGGz.
Yeah, I think you need to do more than just cancel the 3rd base for sure. I mean, the 3rd base is like a guarantee in this scenario. But yeah, get to the front. I mean, look at the pickings at the front. Go, hit the road. What are we doing?
I think we need to bile that.
Shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to kill this.
Yeah. I don't even care. I don't even think the Evo Champ, if you hit the Roach Run, maybe he doesn't think he gets the Roach Run before the fight goes too far wrong. You're not going to see some extra links showing up for him. Does Erik have enough to truly push through this? He's honestly doing pretty well so far. Some more Crows of Files. Units dodge out of those. Has a new Ravager in the back. Has to dodge once again from the bile of his opponent.
It's going to finish.
Yeah, I think he's right to go for the Rotron. He doesn't know how far the upgrade is from finishing, but killing the Rotron's a genuine issue for eGGz that then Erik could probably just continue to stream units against.
eGGz definitely needs to fire up a new Roach-Warren, which he hasn't done just yet. Instead, we're just gonna go, I guess, full Zerglings right now, together with a Macro Hatchery. Okay, so that's an interesting decision too. There's no Baneling Nest here for either player, so mass Zergling production right now for eGGz. Gonna step away once again from those corrosive biles. At this point though, the roaches are basically all gone, which means that there's very little buffering right now for those Ravagers in blue. Roaches and Zerglings are starting to break through this.
Yeah,
okay, a few drones, I guess, were killed, but nothing all too significant. I guess those drones actually weren't killed. They were just turned into structures.
This is kind of where you're meant to obviously keep the Lings in front of the Ravagers, because the Lings are meant to tank for those, but yeah, now the Rotron coming back up from eGGz. Erik just not really with enough still. Corrosive Biles on a Creep Tumor, so some very minor receding of Creep here as we'll go for the Overlord as well. We'll not quite finish that off. And yeah, he honestly could have just done with another couple of Roaches still around, so there just wasn't the Ravagers alone. He drops a Spire back at home on the back of this lair, and taking a third hatch, I think overall he may not win the game here, but he's going to put himself in a great spot, especially because the Spire will not care so much about kind of upgrades on the ground. Obviously, the Carapace interacts with the Mutalisks, but yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, so this is a funny little follow-up, because usually these pushes are... Ooh, nice biles over there, actually, getting all three Ravagers. Normally, these pushes right here, the one that Erik is going for, are just hatchery tech, right? So you don't have a lair, you don't have roach speed, you have nothing on the back of it. Instead, we're gonna now transition towards Mutas here, which can definitely catch Erik off guard. Or, sorry, eGGz off guard here when he ultimately goes across the map. Now, this has been a nice exchange, though, here of the last couple seconds. Getting all of those Ravagers, and, well, that's going to be the end for that army there in blue. He did end up sniping a bunch of the opponent's Ravagers before that ultimately went south for him, but... Alright, now the Mutas can come out. Erik, though, no, he just spent all of his larvae and minerals on Zerglings. We're making 2 Mutas.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he feels like he needs to do something to survive. It was an awful time to lose his army, because then he didn't really have the confidence to just go straight through to the Mutas, and right now he's probably afraid if he has nothing on the ground, the Mutas don't kill everything in time before he just loses so much. We're not going to go straight after this hatchery, it's just going to start knocking this down. Third is just given up by Erik, and eGGz needs to just keep on going through, right? I mean, he wants to do as much as he can before Mutas arrive, but then at the same time, there's already some units here to slow him down. And he's got to be committed now, because at the end of the day, you're just going to lose units if you turn around and try and go home. So, forwards we go. Love the bile positioning. Great biles. Actually hits a couple of the roaches low. And the Lings are not going to die to Mutas quickly. And the Lings are the one thing here that could really just do a lot before the Mutas completely take control of this game. And I think that's where we're going to find a lot of this damage.
The Zerglings are countering the Mutas here, man. GG.
GG.
The Mutas were going to kill everything, but it was going to take way too long. eGGz right there just cleaning up everything that the opponent had available. What a funky game, right? This is sort of what we expected, I guess, with these two facing off against each other. Doesn't really look like a quote-unquote conventional game of Zerg versus Zerg. Normally this matchup, I mean, it's very chaotic, but usually it's a little bit more, I guess, precise, right? A little bit more, how do you say that? Maybe delicate, right? I'm not exactly sure what the word I'm looking for here is, but it would be interesting to see one of these two players execute this against somebody like, for example, a Serral or a Raynor or a Solar or a Dark, because I got a feeling that they would be all over it.
Yeah, of course they would. That's the difference in skill, Roku. No, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a cool build, but like, if you figure it out, you can defend, and it's just weird that they both went Ling Speed, Roach Roaring, like, you know, Roach Ling is not unheard of, but to obviously see it on both sides makes it a bit funky, both of them not taking the third base. It was just kind of weird, and like I say, in the end, I think eGGz having the Carapace was going to be very good for him. Erik definitely got there and did a lot quickly, though, and kind of hit at a good time, but then, I mean, honestly, if Erik's army had backed away before he lost everything, I actually think he wins the game, because if Mutas come out and he just has enough to hold the first wave, even if he loses his third hatch, but he just holds off for long enough, that's all he needs. The Mutas to be overhead dealing damage during that. But losing the entire army just before you're about to make Mutas, because then he didn't make, you know, all the Mutas he could have straight away. Like you mentioned, he made 14 Lings. That could have been, he had like the gas for 6 more Mutas, so that could have been 8 Mutas. You already have a ground force to compete, and that's just a very different amount of damage output, right? So, yeah, very funky game. Couple different decisions on either side. Could have seen it go differently. In this case, it was good enough for eGGz to open up with a 1-0 lead.
Absolutely. Yeah, that third base. I guess he was a little too attached to it right there, even though it didn't really add a whole lot to his game. Either way, game number 2. We find ourselves on the map Solaris, and spawning right here in the top right-hand corner, it's Erik.
In the bottom left-hand corner, it's eGGz.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, kind of feels like we have like a big hat and we throw an extractor in there, a roach warren, an expansion, and like 30 odd drones, and we just sort of shake it around and then we just get the things in random orders, right? That's oftentimes what ZVZ can feel like. Just a bunch of stuff, and it all just kind of works. There is an optimal way to play it, but the problem with the optimal playing style is that you also need to be really on point with the micro. Just because everything, again, moves so fast, it's very easy to accidentally slip up, and well, that's sort of what we saw in the previous game.
Very, very true. It's ZVZ is a fun one, isn't it? It's so funny how many different things you can still do in the world of ZVZ. There's just so many options of how you can mix it up and be a bit aggressive or be a bit more like it's just such a wide berth matchup where it's so difficult to pick up scouting in this matchup too. Like sometimes it is, but if your opponent denies scouting well, it's nigh on impossible to have perfect info, and then it's even tougher to really pick out what it is and how exactly it goes, and that's why it's so volatile at that high level, because everyone's so good at denying and faking information. It's so hard to get a perfect read in this matchup. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Like, it's very difficult to get the correct read because you have so much imperfect information and people fake build orders all the time. You're trying to make the opponent think you're doing one thing, and you're cutting a couple drones only to get there. For example, if you're trying to hide a quick roach warren and you're still mining gas, you try to hide like the roach warren in the corner while still going for the baneling nest at the normal time. And there's all kinds of little fake outs that you can make that ultimately only really work at the absolute highest level of play, because everybody below that just kind of struggles at staying alive, because it's really easy to just accidentally run all of your units into a baneling, or yeah, to just get caught off guard by a sudden roach switch. So there is a lot of strategy in this matchup, and ZVZ really is very complex at the highest level. But for most of us guys out there, this is a matchup where, well, things can go south very easily, more so than in the other matchups. Yep. As the last starts up here from eGGz, so he is just going to immediately go into something a bit funky himself. Super fast lair. What do you think if you go this fast a lair? Pretty much, to me, just sounds like I don't even know, actually. Like, it's that fast of a lair. Like, maybe it can be a Nidus, just a roach speed.
Yeah, that's the only thing that really makes sense here. Like, both players are taking a massive gamble here, though, right? So if you play either of these two builds on the ladder, I've got a feeling you're gonna just be overwhelmed by a link flood with a bunch of banelings on the back of it, right? So they're basically cutting a corner where they're assuming that the opponent isn't gonna go for one of the most common builds that is out there. So Erik is going for a quick Evo chamber here, or actually, no, it's a Roach Warren over there in the back. That's also a funky one. That's a really quick Roach Warren. We have a quick Roach Warren too, by the way, here for eGGz, but together with a lair, it could just be +1 with Roach speed.
Yeah, and then
like 30-ish workers, and yeah, that's it.
Man.
So the lair is done. What are we doing? Yeah, just Roach speed. That's it.
But then you
maybe like an Overlord Highway. There was like the German Autobahn at some point that Lambo was playing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, put it this way: whatever you're doing here as eGGz is just not as good as what Erik is doing against you, because you're setting up for the future. Erik is setting up for the right now. It's very similar to the last game, just with slightly different circumstances, right? Erik's going to attack you quickly. eGGz is going to have an upgrade and a couple other things going on. And maybe initially eGGz takes a bunch of damage, but eventually holds. He starts up a spine crawler now. You run across the map quickly with these acceleration zones. eGGz, I think you got to cancel something here to afford everything that you need. Honestly, like even if you cancel Roach Speed or +1, like not even both, just one of those, I feel like I kind of like it. But you need enough units to hold the front, because if you don't hold the front, that's goodbye Roach Warren. And well, right now it's goodbye Roaches and Queens.
Yeah, he's gonna jump this. Obviously, defender's advantage right here for the player in red. Those upgrades are ticking. Still a little while away, though. In like half a minute from now, life is gonna be a lot more comfortable, but you brought it up. That structure is so exposed at the front. Now the drones are pulled away as well. Roach Warren is gone, and at that point, the lair effectively has been nullified. I don't think we want to make the Roach Warren over there again. That's not the spot to put it down, because Biles are gonna connect, and there's no way that that is gonna finish.
No, it's really not. It could honestly be okay if you had a Roach Warren in the main base, built more roaches from that, And then he's going to have +1 missiles, which would help a lot, but he's also now fighting very far forward, which is probably because he wants to protect the new Roach Warren, but yeah, like... Oh my god, what a wild game.
I don't hate it, but I think we should have definitely made a second Roach one when we saw this army moving across the map and maybe cancel one of the 2 upgrades.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, this is now once again a very funky game. Erik decides to go for a lair once again into a Spire, which is funny with this particular build, because what could have happened here if you just decided to spend all of those resources into making more units here instead, right? Because that could have just been, I think, a lethal attack here. Instead, we're making it a bit harder than it really needs to be. +1 missile did finish up here for eGGz, who's once again starting up Glide Reconstitution 2.0 over here at the front. I believe in it about as much as I did the first time around. There's a chance it'll finish, but I don't think so.
I wish I was as hopeful about things in life as eGGz is about that Roach Warren, man. That's inspiring. I kind of love the Nidus. I just don't like... Why wasn't the Roach Warren in the main base? Like, he actually has good army supply right now because his opponent's stacking up to make mutas. His opponent's stacking up to make mutas. Like, this is once again a case of like, hey, if you can catch this army, kill it and go before the mutas are out, there's some potential, but... without Roach speed, he's not going to catch it. That's why the Nidus across the map could be kind of cool, but was 8 mutas on the way. I think this time around, the idea from Erik is going to work out. It's so funny because we've seen such a similar game twice over, but it is going to have a different outcome, I think.
I'm assuming the Nidus network did get spotted as well. We're going to go for a very conservative placement, so not inside of the main base. You can, of course, bring drones along with the queens as well, and then more spore crawlers in on the other side of the map. That's what we commonly see. It's really good in particular if the opponent decides to skip the Roach Warren, but obviously that's something that Erik has had for a while. Here comes that army. I don't think there is enough right here just yet, but, I mean, eGGz is trying to push through this.
If he genuinely had a further forward Nidus... I could genuinely be a believer. No! Oh my god!
Okay. That could not have gone much better for Erik than that.
Yeah, he was trying to just push up, but he was being held in position. The mutas are going to kill the queens off creep, obviously, and that should just seal the deal. Apparently not just yet, but it should. There we go. Thank you, Erik. Thank you, eGGz.
Your very dramatic seal the deal almost worked perfectly. Yeah. I was with you. It sounded like a countdown right there, but Erik apparently did not want to give you that satisfaction. Or eGGz, rather.
Yeah, eGGz is like,
but anyways,
I do not respect you calling my game early. Please consider that I might try and get back in this game. Cool, you've had enough time to realize you're wrong. GG. Just really rub it in.
Making you look very awkward now. How awkward do you feel, Wardy?
Pretty awkward. Usually
Mission accomplished.
Usually I'm pretty good at GG timings. Like usually I'm like, I think this might be GG, and then they actually GG, and I'm like, it's like my sixth sense, like my connection to StarCraft, but it was completely off there.
Out of any sixth sense to have, I think that's the best one.
Yeah, absolutely. The sense of when someone's gonna GG.
Yeah, smelling the GG timing. I don't think there's any other sixth sense that anybody can wish for.
Really, a very low amount of people in the world would make use of it, but you know what?
I was impressed.
You're impressed.
I was impressed when you almost got it right.
Yeah, you're impressed, and I didn't even get it right this time.
Yeah. I'm excited for the next game, man. It's gonna be our final game for today.
Yeah, final map of the night, man. It's been a fun one. We've been here 8.5 hours or so, guys. Obviously, again, tomorrow there'll be more StarCraft. Loco's coming back. Ben's coming back. I've been kicked off the team, replaced by another. So I won't be here tomorrow, but you'll be able to enjoy even more ESL regionals over the weekend. So make sure you tune in each day. Saturday and Sunday we'll have both days will have action. And Sunday is the last day of group stage. Round 5 of Swiss is usually very fun. It's like every single match is make or break, basically. So exciting weekend ahead as we kick off this exciting game 3 in the top right corner with the red Zerg, eGGz.
Down here in the bottom left, going for some very interesting build orders, we have Erik. Okay.
Wow.
I am a little surprised we haven't really seen any link floods whatsoever. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like both players have been kind of susceptible to those. I mean, it's been a 2-base opener, I guess, so maybe it's not ideal. But I feel like half of the ladder games I ever see of Zerg versus Zerg are like a 13-12 and just straight link speed and whatnot. And they've been cutting Baneling nests, they've been delaying link speed. It feels like against your average ladder hero, especially on the NA server, a lot of these games would just be insta losses. But maybe I'm mistaken, of course. Maybe they've got some sort of trick up their sleeve to make that defense easier. Oh, okay, it's an extractor trick. I mean, This is a build. This after careful consideration, I can confirm that this is a build right here.
It's a good thing they hire analysts like you, Loco. Otherwise, I would have been stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad to help.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with these drones?
They're gonna go build a spine crawler. Wombo.
This is an interesting variation to it, though. So this is gonna be Zerglings into Banelings into a spine crawler rush on the other side of the map.
It's got to be spines,
I haven't
right?
seen this particular flavor of cheese, but
Yeah, this is definitely on the not quite the normal levels of what we see. Well, do we actually just start 2 spines and then it's a Bane bus behind it?
do you? No. You don't want to show it. I was gonna say if you want to wait and build them over here on the low ground, you gotta wait until the hatchery is done.
Yeah, but when the hatchery
Okay, so he's waiting?
But it's too soon, no? What are we doing?
Okay, Banelings are coming up, though. I don't think there's much you can do to keep this natural expansion alive, although eGGz is apparently very excited to try and do so. He doesn't know that there's Banelings on the back of this, which is exactly why this build is a bit confusing to me as well, because there they are. This is not what you expect whatsoever.
Like, a lot of the time pulling the drones down to, like, protect the hatchery is okay, but, like, that was just too early and too far anyways, right? Like, you want to keep them mining as long as possible. And that's why I'm like, what are you doing? It's not wrong to sometimes pull the drones. In this case, it probably is no matter what, but it just didn't make sense in that situation. I kill 4 drones, 2 spines versus a high ground spine crawler. We do not get there to catch the queen. And a Baneling nest on the way up from eGGz. This is going to be 1 base versus 1 base with, honestly, very similar situations, huh? This is wild.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like this necessarily leads to a lead right here for Erik.
I think
Erik, like he's droning behind it?
I think Erik should have camped the X, by the way. Like, he just let 4 lings spawn.
Probably.
That never should have spawned.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, thank goodness.
So these spines are gonna bleed out on creep if the creep disappears here. Obviously, if you uproot them again, they will be available. Ultimately, I think Erik's is gonna have to leave this area of the map alone, but he's droning behind it, and he's gonna go up to like 20 workers here, which is actually very significant to compared to eGGz only 13. So eGGz has also made a Baneling nest on the back of this. Are we gonna bust through these spines? Because I don't think that's, oh god, that's what we're gonna do. I don't know if that's the best move.
No, queen tanks initially. Oh, I have no idea what's happening. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's hard to play by play when you don't understand what's happening on the game. So I'm a
little surprised by the Baneling nest there. I don't know if I like it. I think Zergling speed would have been a whole lot better because now eGGz could counterattack and just deal damage on the other side of the map. I mean, there's very little available here for Erik to defend at home. Now we have like a slow Ling Bane fight for both players. Like, this is like finally Ling speed starts up right now for Erik. But ooh, it's so delicate here.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. This is genuinely just kind of a little bit wild. I mean, obviously now eGGz is the all-inner because Erik has a hatchery already. But I don't think we need to send the Lings into the Banes like that.
I like this.
No. I don't think that was it at all.
Okay, so Erik at this point has got a ton of drones compared to his opponent. Both players are, gonna lose some more stuff over here. Apparently it starts with 5 drones. How do we not have any more defensive Banelings available? Why did we go to the low ground? Why were we married to that main base when you knew that the opponent only had a handful of workers? GG. Ay.